Hello, everyone, and thank you and welcome for joining us. This is Joe Valenzuela with Vista Mutual Insurance Services, and today we're doing something a little bit different. We have with us today Taylor Camacho. She is a newer agent with our agency, and we're going to ask her some questions about how she feels about Medicare insurance and starting a new business for herself. Taylor, welcome.
Thank you for having me.
Of course. How long have you been doing Medicare insurance now for?
Through Medicare insurance, I have been an agent for about 2 years now. This will be my second running year. Full AEP.
Two AEPs, right?
Two AEPs, yes. So kind of 2.5, but I would consider 2 full actual years.
You'll notice that about the insurance industry, especially this Medicare insurance. We count our livelihood as AEPs,
exactly.
Not necessarily years. So.
Yep. So I started very end of the first AEP of 2021 for myself, but really went into it full force the following year. And then from there, already ramping up for this one. Which
is a very difficult time to start because we're coming off of COVID. Restrictions are still in place. We have to do virtual meetings. There's a whole bunch of stuff. So for you to come on at that time and be successful as you are, it's pretty nuts. There's a lot of established agents that were not successful during this period. So that's really cool. Well, when you were thinking about doing it, and I know that I talked a lot to you to try to get you to do it, but when you were thinking about doing it, what made the final decision for you? What put it over the edge?
I like making a difference in people's lives. I worked in healthcare for many years, and there was a lot of times that I was registering patients. They didn't quite understand their benefits.
Yeah.
So being somebody that can actually help explain them, go line by line if they need to, let them call me and I can really break everything down for them. I really wanted to make a difference in the community and with people, seniors, they sometimes need a little bit of explanation and so I'm happy to help that. And that's kind of really what motivated me to want to be in the insurance industry and help people in other ways.
Yeah, we call it doing good while doing well, right? Because we're not, if we just wanted to do good and volunteer our time, there's plenty of things that we can do to do that. But in order for us to be able to help more people, then we have to make money to make a living to do it.
Right.
So we get to do good for a lot of people and we get to do well for ourselves financially. Okay, so I have a bunch of questions here. So I'm going to pull up my little question thing.
Here we go.
Sorry for pulling that from where I did. Okay. Now I know that you're only 2 years in here, and we all like to help people. I think that's why a lot of us get into this industry.
Right.
Can you tell me about a time that you got fulfilled from that goal, from the reason that you started? Like a client that you might have had that you helped and you're like, okay, this is my why. This is why I'm doing this.
Yeah, absolutely. I've actually had a few of those run-ins that, by the end of the day, I'm just, just happy with what I do. I'm really happy to make somebody else happy and make them feel better and be, almost a sense of security for them that, they're not just in this crazy world that they don't understand and people are just telling them all of these, things and they don't know what these words mean. They don't know what benefits, they have exactly. So, I offer always to help other family members as well. I'm always the one that, even though I'm helping your mom, if you did have any questions, please feel free to ask me. It's, not a big deal. I'm happy to help.
It seems like you get a lot of fulfillment in just even the little things, not necessarily like a huge issue that I solved and this is what saved them, but just the little things of being able to explain benefits and then be an actual advocate for someone when something happens.
Yeah, exactly. So I did have somebody have some authorization troubles recently. Yeah. So it was nice to use all of my channels of communication, if you will, as well as yourself. You have
a lot of
see that through, thankfully,
from back in your old days as well through the healthcare system.
Yes, exactly. So being able to utilize all of those, avenues, explain the authorization process, but also help find out what is going on with that authorization, and having my patient or my client be seen. That was fulfilling. It felt, almost like a finish line that I crossed.
Yeah. And which is really cool because I didn't really have to train you much on that stuff because you knew it already. And that's really kind of a hard thing for a lot of agents to grasp because they haven't been in this industry or they don't even understand the terms or how things work. But you, because you've been in it already, you're like, oh, I can do that part. I just had to teach you how to sell Medicare, which is nice for me. So thank you.
And the right people to talk to because, on the hospital side, there's one group and then on the insurance side, there's another, and you kind of have to find that in between. But it is nice to have both.
You had that baseline of knowledge that allowed you to just kind of get into this industry easier.
Exactly.
Not that you'd need that. A lot of people, have never. Her fiance Why did I use quotes?
I don't know. It is
Her husband.
It is my fiance. I mean,
Yeah, it's really her fiance. Was a correctional officer before he came onto the insurance industry. So he had no baseline of knowledge, and he still does well. So you don't necessarily have to have it, but it really helps you just spring forward quicker. You know all the acronyms, even the stuff that we go through, you kind of already knew because you were on the back end of it.
exactly.
So I've learned a lot from Taylor as well because of that stuff. So we always lean on everybody who has expertise. Everybody knows something that someone else doesn't. And if you think that you know everything, you're wrong. Guaranteed.
Every day.
Guaranteed you're wrong.
Makes for a great team, though.
It does. It does. Okay. Next question. All right. This is going to be a hard one, and I'll try to answer this one too. What is one piece of advice you wish every Medicare recipient knew?
I wish for every Medicare recipient, they knew that it wasn't a one plan fits all, one plan suits all. I actually just recently had a new client come up, and we ended up signing up for a plan that was most beneficial for her needs.
Yep.
And the next day or two later, she gave me a call and said, well, I just spoke with so-and-so and they have this.
Mm-hmm.
And so her and I spent another, half an hour or so on the phone together, which again, I don't mind doing those things. It's all about the explaining. That's part of the process. I said, okay, so these were your needs that we went over. This is the other person's needs. It's up to you,
Right,
but understanding what you mentioned and what your needs were, I feel that this might be the one that's most beneficial for you. She wanted a lot more access to doctors outside of California.
Mm-hmm.
And
so here we're talking about a Medicare supplement.
Exactly. And so...
And she may have heard from her friend that she had a very inexpensive Medicare Advantage plan, but these then have networks of doctors that she would not have that freedom. So just not understanding the difference between Medicare Advantage and Medicare Supplement and what the benefit and the value that you're getting from it. Because we do a full presentation. Taylor sat down with her for probably an hour and a half to 2 hours.
Exactly.
But we go over so much information in that presentation that it's incredibly hard to retain.
Right.
And you kind of are leaning on the knowledge of the person you're speaking with to say, okay, you told me about all these roads and you heard about my situation. Like, which road do you think I should go down?
Exactly. And I wanted to explain to the ins and outs of getting onto a supplemental first versus a Medicare Advantage plan and, her needs and all the choices that she did have. So from there, we chose her MedSup plan. Mm-hmm. And again, she called me, a couple days later questioning, what is it that, why this one and not that one? So we went over her benefits again, and we decided that it still was the most beneficial for her at the time.
Yep.
I, of course, let her know, as time passes, and if you feel that you want to reevaluate, we can always reevaluate everything at any time.
And we do that every year too. We want to make sure everyone has an annual review.
Exactly.
Plans change, benefits change, premiums change. So we just want to make sure you looked at your plan and you said, okay, I know what it did. You looked at the other options. You know what they did. I'm still happy, or I want to change. So every year we do that.
Yep. And income too.
Yeah.
For all the clients. So sometimes, or their health needs, sometimes, they unfortunately have illnesses that they're faced with, and, if they feel that something else might better suit them, then happy to always look over those. So her and I spent some time together, and I always remind everybody I work with that they can give me a call anytime. They can send me an email, that I have no problem answering questions. Or, again, if they have somebody else that has questions, they can always contact me as well, because
for sure,
sometimes you don't know, and sometimes you just sign up for something because you start getting overwhelmed. And again, it's not a one plan fits all. So
it is not. And I think that my answer would be the same there. I think that if people did understand the differences between Medicare Advantage and Medicare Supplement a little bit better, if they came into it with that baseline of knowledge, our jobs would be so much easier.
Yes. Well, why does my neighbor have this? And why do I have this? Or, what's better about this one? It's those doctors that they might value. It's their prescriptions.
How they view insurance.
Their traveling as well. Yeah, their income, and so many factors go into it. But it's kind of fun pulling it all out and seeing, what they actually want and how to best suit them. So
for sure. Okay, moving on to our next question. I wish I'd have memorized all these, but I have my phone here. All right. Well, we've actually already answered our next question. This was, how do you handle situations where a client might not be happy with their plan choice? And I think Taylor described that beautifully. She says that she's open to them contacting them at any time making sure they understand what they signed up for, and the other option, even if they wanted to look at that again.
Right.
There's certain enrollment periods in Medicare where you can still make a change within the first couple months. So yeah, when somebody doesn't like their plan choice, we work with them. We don't say, well, you picked that.
Yep.
We even if it's not an enrollment period, we work with them to say, okay, I understand that you don't like this plan this year, and that's fine. You're locked into it until the first of the next year, but we're going to take a hard look, and we're going to be leaving this company for one that you find more suited for yourself.
Exactly.
So that question is already answered. We can move on. All right. Okay. How do you see the future of Medicare insurance, especially with technology playing a bigger role?
Ooh, future of Medicare.
Yeah. And this can be your individual future or future of the industry as a whole.
Yeah, absolutely. I think with seniors now, they're a lot more tech savvy, which is great.
Yeah.
I think there's a pro and con to that though as well. I think sometimes you put your phone number and email address in a website, and then all of a sudden you have all these phone calls coming in, and again, you get frustrated and you just pick something, or you give up entirely.
Right.
Or you become overwhelmed and intimidated and you don't want anything, and then then you're in a whole different situation.
Right.
But I do think overall the industry is going to benefit from all the technology, from all the resources that people are able to have. I think I've noticed recently a lot of my clients like to text my phone number.
Mm-hmm.
They're busy. Sometimes they are still working now. Economies change, incomes have changed. So sometimes they'll be busy at work and want to text me.
And this is a very recent development too. I would say I've been in the Medicare space for 18 years. Within the past 5 years or so, that's when they've really adapted the text messaging. It's beautiful for us to ask a quick question or sending a document even. We used to get faxes.
Yeah, exactly. So that's been really, really helpful.
So now they can just text us a picture of their auth that they're trying to get.
Exactly.
Which is great.
Yep. So I think there's a lot of benefits that are coming from just the technology standpoint, really, that can enhance everybody's experience overall. And again, even with health portals and things of that sort that they have access to. So
yeah, what you're talking about there is things like you might have in this area heard of My Chart, where you have access to all of your test results, all of your prior authorizations are there, all of your claims are linked to one place so that you're able to go in there. It has all your doctors that you've ever visited, all the prescriptions you've ever taken. And 10 years ago, this would have been crazy to have. Like, nobody had that.
Right.
So the information that they're now privy to, not only through their healthcare system, but online, say through Medicare.gov, to be able to look up their insurance plans themselves, although it's complicated and confusing, they can do it. And they can have that little baseline of knowledge to come into us with.
Exactly.
And then on the business side for us, I mean, we are using technology in every single aspect of our business to make us more efficient. We use RingCentral for our phone system. We use Zoho CRM which is all linked up together. So notes come in, and we have a bunch of different AI technologies that we're using as well. So you're right about the double-edged sword though. Because I think that sometimes people rely on it a little too much.
Right.
And now they're going online thinking they understand something they may not, and then enrolling into it and making a poor decision.
I think sometimes people are afraid to have a live person.
Yeah. And I get that too, that there's been a lot of people in our industry that are not ethical.
Exactly.
Right? Or just not as educated or informed as they should be. And they make bad decisions for people.
Exactly.
And there's a lot of pressure out there with all the advertising that happens that are really kind of bait and switch advertising. And that's going to get a little bit better this year, hopefully, with the new CMS regulations saying you can't advertise a benefit in an area that it doesn't exist in. Because there used to be things all the time, 0 premium. And then you call and they say, well, it's not available in your area.
It's happened multiple times. Well, why am I seeing ads for this?
Mm-hmm.
That's not county specific, unfortunately. So let's, evaluate what we can do and go from there.
And also, going back to the other question, what do I wish Medicare recipients knew? I wish they knew we were free.
Absolutely.
We're no cost to them at all. We're not like, mortgage brokers, or we don't take a percentage. Your insurance isn't higher. The same plan that you went on Medicare.gov with, the same plan you went on the carrier's website with, is the same plan that we represent. So we give you this knowledge, our experience. We know the local areas, doctors and hospitals. Enroll you with no paperwork, all for free. And we get paid a perpetuity in the future as long as you stay with us. So it gives us an incentive to service you and also give you a review each year to make sure that you're happy with your plan.
Exactly.
So I really wish they knew that. And we should probably say it more.
Yeah. I'm going to start adding that in more, actually.
Yes.
So now I have a question for you.
Okay.
How do you train new agents like myself or somebody that might be interested in pursuing a career in the insurance industry?
Yeah, I think that's where Vista Mutual is a little bit different. And I used to do this differently as well. When I bring people on, I'd bring multiple people on at once.
Mm-hmm.
I'd do a whole training course with them. I'd give them the training course first so they can read it, go through all the slides, and then do everything again with them, and then do field stuff with them. But what I found is everybody learns so differently. And everybody starts off at a different place than everybody else. So now I really concentrate on individual training. And I think you have noticed a lot of that. You maybe had some group training in the beginning, but most of our stuff has been one-on-one.
It's been a lot of one-on-one, which I do appreciate because I think everybody has had, different knowledge points and different levels. And
they have different skill sets and different things that they want to do too, right?
Right.
Because when I approached you as well, it wasn't like, here's what you have to do. It's always, this is what we do that's successful. And if you'd like to do it, I'll help you open up opportunities to do it.
Right.
And some people love the phone. Some people love to be in person like yourself doing events. So I think, I don't know, maybe you can tell me, well, having no frame of reference other than me though, that I think it helps get that person individually ready more than a group setting where some people can fall off and some people are getting it.
Exactly. I think that, everybody shares different strengths and weaknesses. So having that one-on-one time that you provide has been great because, if I was with a group, everybody else may or may not share the same strength or weakness. And if I'm not getting that, specific tailored training, that might let us fall off. So I do think it's a great approach to have us, all sit down kind of one-on-one, do various events, do different trainings, meetings, all of those.
Yeah. And there are still some group things that we do. We have group meetings still. And when a carrier does a training, we're all on that together.
Exactly.
But yeah, I just think it individualizes way better. And we're not so huge that I can't do that, which I like.
Yeah.
I never want to get so big that I don't know somebody in my organization. Mm. And another thing too is, everybody's 1099. So you're not an employee. And that's a very hard thing for some people to grasp and understand and then be efficient at or even be motivated to do.
Right.
There's some agents that never call me. You know who you are.
And then
there's some agents that call me all the time. But I would prefer the agent that calls me all the time because you know what that means? They're engaged. They're doing something. If you have a question about something, that means you actually did something.
Exactly. I'm working.
Now, do I care if you do that? Absolutely not. It's your business. I never want you to be unhappy or think, why did I have to do this? Mm-hmm. Everything is on you. But you have to know then that if everything's on you and you don't do anything,
not much you can do either.
Right. Right. So I really, really want to thank you for joining our team. I know that you had some thinking to do about before you did.
It's intimidating. It is. Something new always. So.
And I appreciate the time you took to actually evaluate it from a 360-degree view and say, you know what, I think I want to do that. And because you did that, you came in strong, knowing right away, this is what I want to do. I'm going to give myself all the opportunities I can to succeed. And some people think they understand that, but have never worked for themselves before.
Right.
Luckily, you own another business as well.
Correct.
And you understand the dynamics of that.
Right. Absolutely.
So I want to thank you very much for coming on to our team.
Absolutely.
I also want to thank everybody for watching and viewing. We hope to bring more and more content like this to you guys, but you have to subscribe, you have to like, and you have to comment. Without engagement, we won't do these videos because if nobody cares, then nobody cares. But we think that this is, incredibly unique information that isn't really readily available out there because we're in a very niche industry. Right. But 11,000 people a day agent in Medicare. So we hope that you could be on our team soon too.
Absolutely.
So for Vista Mutual Insurance Services, my name is Joe Valenzuela. This is Taylor Camacho, and we want to thank you so much for joining us today. Please like, subscribe, share, and comment.